Growth, Partnerships, and Innovation Ecosystems at UpLink, which is the open innovation platform of the World Economic Forum. Today, I have the pleasure of moderating this press conference on groundbreaking innovations for sustainable growth, and which is hosted by the World Economic Forum at the special meeting in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. So, with no further ado, I would like to actually introduce our panelists here who are going to be part of a very lively conversation and also exciting. I start from my left, actually, His Excellency Ammar Nagadi, the Vice Minister of Economy and Planning of the Saudi Arabia. Then we have Dr. Basma Al-Bohairan, Managing Director of Saudi Arabia's Center for the Fourth Industrial Revolution. We have Vivek Salgaonkar, the Managing Director and Founder of Prospect Innovation. And at the far left, we have Tara Karimi, who is one of our UpLink top innovators and the founder of Semvita. So in this session, we are going to focus on three main things. Firstly, we are going to speak about the key role of startups in supporting us achieving the Sustainable Development Goals. And then we are going to highlight the key role that each stakeholder group, which you see here represented, are taking in building that enabling environment for these startups and innovations to basically support us to grow and scale. And lastly, which I'm very excited about, we are going to have a couple of announcements which are the invitation to some of the startups around the world who are going to join us as part of this journey. So to just illustrate why we are having this conversation today, according to International Energy Agency, 50% of emissions reductions required for achieving net zero will come from technologies that they are not available or not at the scale that is needed. So thinking about this statement and the numbers that are out there, it really underscores, one, the need for innovation, and also it underscores the speed that we need to bring these innovations to life. And we all know building the startups are not easy. It takes quite a long time, especially for the technologies that we are looking for. But that is where, with UpLink and at UpLink, we believe in the power of partnerships. We believe by building intentional ecosystems and also engaging the right stakeholders, we can build that enabling environment and fast forward and accelerate the growth and the scale of the innovation and the startups. These startups are going to be part of our future economy. And not only that, but also they are going to actually paint a much better and beautiful picture for the future of our people and planet. So for that reason, I would like to actually bring my panelists into the conversation and really represent the sector that they are part of and how they see the role of innovation, but also how they are supporting this innovation ecosystem. So Your Excellency, I would like to start here with you. First of all, thank you very much for joining us. I know that it's been a super busy period for you, and also hosting us very graciously in Saudi Arabia. So we have been working with you and your team for the past few years, not only identifying really great innovations, but also creating that pathway through the innovation ecosystem. Could you please share with us, how do you see the role of government in building these enabling environments for the startups, for their growth and scale? And what is the significance of partnerships like ours between the Minister of Economy and Planning and the Forum and UpLink?
Thank you, Sadaf. And first of all, I'd like to welcome you all to Riyadh, especially those that are coming to Riyadh for the first time, Vivek and Tara. I think we have to acknowledge that sustainability is a global challenge. And given the scale of that challenge, collaboration becomes a must. Governments of the world have a responsibility. And that responsibility is to encourage innovation to address some of these challenges that we're seeing today. In Saudi, we've seen that the Vision 2030 had sustainability as a core element in the plans and the vision that we've been working on over the last few years. But I believe the key thing that we've learned as well is that collaboration was a key recipe for success. Public-private partnerships, collaboration with the NGOs, collaborations with platforms like the World Economic Forum are essential to unlocking the solutions that we need for sustainable economic growth. Of course, this allows us to develop and scale solutions for sustainable economies. And I think the partnership that we've announced in 2023 last year was a true example to that. We've had the challenge, the UpLink challenge around crowdsourcing solutions for food security in low rainfall countries. And I think there is more than the pipeline that we'll hopefully see very soon.
Absolutely, absolutely. That was actually a very successful challenge, and we have a cohort of 22 innovators that are actually working on food security, which is very, of course, one of the issues in the region, but also in the world as well. So it is very clear the role of the collaboration being the key recipe, and also how you are identifying innovation to achieve this transition and accelerate this transition. I would like to bring our attention specifically and particularly to the innovations that are tackling issues to the life under the water. We know that the kingdom is sitting between two beautiful seas, the Red Sea and also the Gulf, and which are home to some of the most biodiverse and resilient corals. But also globally, we have seen the fourth global coral bleaching phenomenon that is happening, which again, these two seas also have seen the impact of that. Could you please share with us how the government of Saudi Arabia, with this, let's say, situation between the two seas, leveraging innovation to address this issue?
Before I answer the question, I think I would like to just elaborate on what you've mentioned around the importance of oceans. Oceans are vast, they're complex, and they are shared. And they are home to more than 80% of life on Earth. More than 3 billion people depend on the ocean for their livelihood. But despite the importance of the ocean, SDG 14, which is about ocean conservation, has not seen the same level of investment or traction as the other goals. 8 million tons of plastic waste still goes to the ocean every year. Overfishing, rising temperatures, and other challenges impact the marine ecosystem. So all of these challenges makes it very important for us to think about ways to address and resolve some of these issues. In Saudi, as you mentioned, we're between two seas. We have more than 2,600 kilometers of coastline. And that's why Saudi is very committed to ocean health. In fact, I think today we want to take a step forward in terms of addressing the challenges of ocean. And I'm very much delighted to launch the Regenerative Blue Economy Challenge. This challenge is a collaboration between UpLink, the Friends of Ocean Action, and the WAVE Initiative, powered by the Future Investment Initiative, and led by Her Royal Highness Princess Rima bint Bandar Al Saud. We want this to be a partnership that encourages innovation to address marine challenges, including restoration, rewilding, and mitigating ocean pollution. And to achieve this, we will bring together early-stage startups with the government, private sector, and civil society. The winners of this challenge will be supported by Saudi Arabia's government and leading organization, and we will offer the resources, funding, and reach for these solutions to maximize the impact of them. At the end of the day, our goal is to regenerate the ocean within the span of one human generation.
That's excellent. This is a great example of concrete actions and a step by the kingdom towards conserving actually the life under the water. So thank you for your partnership. As I mentioned, we'll definitely come back to you again. let's hear from another element of innovation ecosystem. So in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, the World Economic Forum actually has a network and a center for the fourth industrial revolution, which Dr. Basma, actually you're spearheading that effort. And basically it's a platform to bring the local and national ecosystem together, from the policymakers, from the corporates and also other actors, to really define pathways for, let's say, fast-paced technologies. And one of these technologies is quantum computing. Dr. Basma, I would like to gauge your actually interest in this area, because we have been having this conversation over the last few months. You're focusing on quantum computing as a tool to address issues such as climate change and social inequality. How can these technologies support progress towards the SDGs?
So first of all, thank you, Sadaf, and it's a pleasure to be here with His Excellency and colleagues and yourself. So quantum computing has enormous potentials to tackle SDGs 7 and 13, affordable and clean energy and climate action in particular. And quantum computing can also help us reduce emissions in some of the most challenging or emission-intensive areas, such as agriculture, and accelerate the scale-up of renewable energies through solar panels and batteries. And quantum computing can also support decarbonization through direct air capture, and I can illustrate this with an example. So point source CO2 capture, for example, is where the vast majority of CO2 capture is too expensive to be viable for now, and mainly because it is energy intensive. And so quantum could actually help us develop novel materials for carbon capture and storage to help meet emission targets, which would potentially allow countries or nations to bring the world in line with the 1.5 degrees Celsius target. Another example is solar cell design, and having the cost of solar panels could actually increase exponentially the use of clean and affordable energies in developing nations. And quantum will help speed up the search for new solar cell materials that can process the photovoltaic effect more effectively and more efficiently to convert more solar energy into electricity. So quantum has the power to accelerate the pace of innovation. And in C4IR Saudi Arabia, we're very conscious that our work doesn't take place in a vacuum. So we don't work in isolation. We work with a multi-stakeholder community, as you rightfully said in your introductory remarks. And we use the Sustainable Development Goals as a compass to prioritize our projects, which are actually in alignment with Vision 2030. And Vision 2030 in itself is also in alignment with the Sustainable Development Goals as well. And so quantum computing matters to us just as any other emerging technology that has a clear linkage to the advancements of the Sustainable Development Goals.
Very clear, thank you. And we are really looking into harnessing this technology. I would like also to ask you, Dr. Basma, what are the critical steps that we need to collectively take to accelerate this? Or let's say, what sort of partnerships that are needed to move us forward?
So I think we're here today to announce our partnership that we are moving forward with UpLink, and we're very excited about it. Quantum innovation for sustainable development goals. And so the partnership that we are forging at C4IR Saudi Arabia with the World Economic Forum's innovation platform, UpLink, is actually focused on leveraging its innovative challenge models tailored for both resource-rich and resource-constrained contexts. And so by collaborating, the center can actually pioneer transformative initiatives that are specifically on innovations for quantum towards SDGs in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, while also exploring cost-effective self-service models for the broader engagement and fostering a collaborative environment conducive to tackling global challenges. And this will further reinforce the Kingdom's pivotal role in catalyzing increased innovation and investment in quantum for SDGs. And so this partnership that we have with UpLink really aligns well with the center's mission and objectives of a recently launched project, which is focused on quantum economy. And our quantum economy project actually leverages the Forum's Quantum Economy Network Blueprint, a framework that was announced earlier in the year. And so for the project that we're working on, we will be working on developing a national strategic roadmap, and we will co-design this in conjunction with our multi-stakeholders. which include government, industry, academic and research organizations, and civil society. And so this will also lead us to a more effective and inclusive innovation ecosystem. In addition, it's expected to increase impact through targeted innovation challenges and projects by addressing key issues such as environmental sustainability, social equity, and economic development. And so through the implementation of innovative solutions, C4IR Saudi Arabia and UpLink can actually contribute to the achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals, helping to build a more equitable, resilient, and sustainable world.
That's brilliant. Thank you very much, Dr. Basma, and a warm welcome to the UpLink community. You know, it's a very tight family, and please, whoever is watching us, and also the startups and innovators who are working in this space, watch this space. It's going to be super exciting. Vivek, I would like to now transition to you, bring a different perspective. I always admire your vision for transformation of the mining industry. Again, I would like to refer to another stats from the International Energy Agency that has predicted to achieve the energy transition, the demand for minerals is going to double by 2040. And we know by the old way of doing things, we are not going to basically achieve that target. So as a third generation of a family business who has been in this, let's say, industry for decades, how do you see the role of innovation in meeting that demand, but in a more sustainable way?
Sure. First of all, thank you for having me, and thank you, Your Excellency, for hosting us. It's a pleasure to be here along with my fellow panelists as well. So, you know, to your question, the world is going to need an unprecedented amount of metals and minerals, as you mentioned. And if we continue to do things the way we've been doing them, we're not going to meet the aggressive goals that we have set for ourselves. Whether or not those goals are achievable are not for me to say. I need to see how I can do my part in ensuring that we get as close as possible to actually doing that. Now, let's be clear, the energy transition is also very much a metals and minerals transition. Because without metals and minerals, you can't really build solar panels or wind turbines or whatever, or what have you, right? So you need to ensure that you have a sustainable and secure source of these. And there's also going to be no single-pronged approach or no silver bullet. It has to be multi-pronged. I think technology and innovation are going to play a crucial role in this, and that's where we come in. Prospect Innovation is excited to continue its pioneering work in enabling the industry evolve through groundbreaking early-stage technologies. I think what's exciting is that to get the best and brightest actually involved, we need to get them aware of what the problems are of the industry. It's an industry that's been notoriously closed off. However, the technologies that actually are applicable and relevant to mining are the same ones that are very, very exciting and what everyone's working on, whether it's AI or quantum computing or robotics or drones or what have you, right? It's just that we have to explain what the use cases are for mining, and that's what we're here to do. Given that we have many, many decades of experience in the mining industry, we're able to actually break down those barriers and make it much more simple and easy to understand. So once again, in order to meet those goals, as the IEA has predicted, the demand is going to be much, much higher. I think technology is going to be a very, very important pillar of this, and we're here to do our part in actually enabling that.
Thank you, Vivek, for that. I would like to also get your view in terms of there are a lot of other industry leaders also in this space, and you specifically, of course, represent one industry, but also you represent the investor community as well, right? So how important is the role of industry leaders, and also why collaboration and partnerships matter? Why you are not doing it by yourself?
Sure. So I think, to use cliches, to go far, you need to go together, right? I think it's the industry, amongst other industries as well, has done a lot in the past where companies have gone on alone. Mm-hmm. And I think that has taken us very far, but I don't think that's going to take us to the next phase. I think the problems that the industry faces are fairly common. And therefore, if you have the ability to harness that collective wisdom and that collective learning, that's what's going to be able to take us to the next level. So I think collaboration is not a kind of nice to have anymore. It's a need to have. There is no other way. because you can't imagine a situation where one company is going to solve the problem for the whole world, right? It's not going to be where one government is going to solve the problem for the whole world or one individual is going to solve the problem for the whole world. We need as many folks working on this as we possibly can, which is why I think collaborations are super, super, super important. And taking a cue from from the previous two panelists, we're also actually very excited to announce a partnership with UpLink, which is the Sustainable Mining Challenge, where we are going to do a series of mining-focused innovation challenges for the next several years. The first one is going to be focused on energy-efficient mining, because this is something that we need to actually get right and set right for the decades to come. This is not something that is a 1 or 2 year project that we can fix and then it's done. It's going to be continuously evolving. It's going to be continuously improving, and that's where we come in, right? You mentioned also at the beginning that the IEA mentions that, the majority of emissions are going to come from technologies that maybe we haven't developed yet or haven't been scaled yet. And I think that's why we need to make sure that we figure out how to mine things in the best way possible, even though we may not know what it is that we're going to have to mine. So when I say there's a metals transition, it's not that we're not going to continue using the minerals and metals that we have been using. It's just that we may be using them in a different way, and we may be doubling down on certain metals and minerals that we perhaps were not using as much of before. And that's where this transition is. It's not a complete shift, it's a transition, it's a move. And I think that's where collaborations such as this, with wonderful partners such as the WEF and UpLink, will actually help us go to that next level again.
Thank you, Vivek. Again, this is another announcement that I was excited about. So again, call for entrepreneurs that have solutions out there. This challenge or competition, let's say, is going live today. So please apply. So Tara, I know that everyone has been impatiently waiting to hear from you because you represent basically the entrepreneur community and a startup community. Can you tell us a little bit more about Cemvita and what is the problem that you're solving for? And I would love to hear a little bit, because you have an incredible background, very interesting. Would love to hear about your entrepreneurial journey and the challenges you have faced and also the openings that you have seen.
Yes, thank you so much, Sarah, for the opportunity. So I am coming from the biotech world. Before we start the company, I was working in academia. I finished my PhD in biochemistry. Also, I studied veterinary medicine. So as you can imagine, I'm completely from the biotech world. Before we start Cemvita, I was working mostly on the pharmaceutical industry. And currently my role in Cemvita is the Chief Technology Officer. And in Cemvita, our focus is on sustainability and specifically on carbon dioxide and waste carbon utilization, production of green chemicals, including sustainable aviation fuel and so many other chemicals. So just as an example, we convert carbon dioxide and waste carbon to a product that we call it bio oil. It's C16, C18 oil, which is identical to palm oil. And we use it for production of personal care product, and also we use it as a feedstock for production of sustainable aviation fuel. The advantage of this process is that there is no need for so much water, land, and we recycle the water. The process is similar to production of the bioethanol through fermentation. So in a classic way, it has been done in the past. For instance, with yeast, we can convert sugar to products like ethanol. This process is very well defined. But what we did, we added additional layer up to it. And that's where we adapted a lot of technologies from biotech and pharma, and we brought it into energy industry. So just as an example, our technology is nature-inspired. So in nature, everything has a code. Every molecule has a code. We call it genetic code. And today, by all advances in pharma and biotech, basically we can read the genetic code, we can write it, we can modify it, we can delete it. So there are a lot of tools available that you can basically make different molecules by just genetic. And that's what we did. And then between myself and my co-founder, we are from two different backgrounds. I'm from biotech world. My co-founder is from energy industry. So from day zero, we shared a lot of ideas between these two disciplines, and we saw the advantage. And since then, we try to expand our diversity in our team.
Actually, I would like to, if I can, you have illustrated this multidisciplinary approach to solving the issue. Can you tell us a little bit more about that and why that has been important in your success?
Yeah, I think for the innovation, definitely looking at a challenge from different angles, it helps a lot. So from twofold, the first one is that there are a lot of technologies already developed and there is, and if we could identify those technologies and then bring them from one discipline to and adapt it for another discipline, by itself will save a lot of time and effort. And then the other aspect of it is that sometimes when we look at a challenge from one angle, at certain point we hit the wall and we feel, oh, we cannot go further. But if you look at the problem from another angle, you will find another solution. And a lot of time actually in our team, I see that. I would like always to have in one meeting people with different backgrounds, biologists, chemical engineers, genetic engineers, process engineers, petroleum engineers. And when you have everybody in one room, you get impressed how many new ideas come on the table just during one meeting.
That's great, because that also brings, again, not only the holistic way of looking at the problems that we have at the, let's say, innovation ecosystem level is important, but also even the way that we approach innovation. Yes. I think that holistic view is key. So we heard from our panelists about why the key role of innovation and why the role of innovation ecosystems and how they are, as representative of different stakeholder group, are supporting that. So I would like to open the floor to a couple of questions because we are running out of time. If you can state your name and also the organization you're representing, and also sticking to the conversation that we've had here around the groundbreaking innovations for sustainable growth. So, floor is open.
Thank you, all the honorable guests. I'm from China Central Television, and we are three here from three different Chinese medias, and that's fully proved that our China and Chinese media put great importance in this sustainable development. So my question is also from Chinese side. Would anyone could share with us what's your comment, how you rate the cooperation between China and other countries or the global in this industry, and what's the lessons and what in terms of techniques, policies, strategies, and what's the good points and what's your expectations? Thank you so much.
We take a couple of other questions before we answer this. Any other? Anyone would like to answer from my panel? Vivek, please.
Sure, I can start. I think there's a couple of things, right? Thank you for your question. One, I think there's no denying the role that China is going to play in this going forward. It's already the leading player when it comes to EV batteries, for instance, right? And in terms of technology, China also is one of the front runners. There's no denying that. So I think in terms of the role that China is going to play, that is going to be huge, as it has been. I think the important thing is to ensure that there, just as what we were all saying, to ensure that there is always going to be collaboration. Because I think there's oftentimes hesitation with different governments involved, and especially with the world that we are in today. There's this tendency to want to sort of onshore and things like that. But I think that actually does everybody, and I'm not singling out anyone, but I think, it becomes, when it comes to, geopolitics and things like that, it becomes a bit of a slippery slope. And so I think the more, especially at the early stage when it comes to technology, the more collaboration that we can have, the better. Because ultimately, the more that we speak to each other, the higher our chances are of actually being able to then succeed and develop these technologies, whether it's any country out there. I come from India, I live in Singapore, you're from China, we have our hosts here from Saudi Arabia. I think everyone is going to be really, really important in this whole journey, and it is going to be a journey. It's not something that's going to happen overnight. And so I think, thank you again for your question. I think, China is going to be very important, and collaboration, I think, above all, is going to be what gets us there.
Thank you very much, Vivek. I think with that, we leave it at collaborations are critical. The innovators and innovation ecosystem needs a lot of support, which we are all collectively here to do so. So with this, I would like to close the session and thank you, everyone, and wishing you a good afternoon.